Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to yet another special episode of Cricket Spectacle. I am Sidharth Gulati and I have with me Dan Gardner. There's been a striking similarity in the episodes we usually do. While the focus is definitely on the associate cricket nations, the most important aspect is creating a differential variable in terms of the content that we produce. So with that said, let's get started with the show. Please welcome our guest, Mr. Calvin Blankendal, Executive Director at Cricket Bermuda. He has tremendous experience in sports and project management, strategic planning and grassroots program, and fund development. Mr. Blankendal, it's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Sidharth. Thank you, Dan, for having me on the Cricket Spectacle. I'm glad to represent the Bermuda Cricket Board, and we are looking forward to sharing our small, beautiful island with your two large nations, India and Australia.
Thank you. Thank you. We are really looking forward to hear from you, some great stories about Cricket Bermuda. So I'll just start off with a very basic question, which is, I would say become a norm with the associate nations, with the respective members of the associate nations, we have had on our show previously. So how did your journey start at Cricket Bermuda and how has been the experience so far?
Well, Bermuda is a small island in the Atlantic Ocean, just about 2 hours off of the east coast of the USA, North Carolina, but the entire world knows New York City. So that's your reference point. Very small location, which was founded by the British. So we're still a colony of the United Kingdom, England. Yeah. And when the British settled, of course, they brought the game of cricket with them. Cricket was then taken on by the slaves. And then with emancipation, it was filtered into having a traditional 2-day festival celebrating the emancipation of slavery and the game of cricket. Out of that, the clubs blossomed and cricket started to become mainstream. And just being someone that was actually born in the Netherlands, Holland, but my mother's Bermudian, coming to Bermuda, being exposed to the beautiful island outdoor activity. And then the special thing about sports in Bermuda is because our location is so small and landmass is so tiny, you play dual sports at one sporting facility or ground. So I'm actually enjoy soccer by my background, but because at the soccer club, it's also a cricket club. So we share the field half of the year. Soccer is normally played from September to March, and cricket is played from April to probably mid-September. So it's very tight to get the pitch turned over. And that's the background in cricket. I played a little bit of cricket up until about high school. Of course, you recognize that you're better at the big ball, the soccer ball, than the little ball. But I became the president of my local sports club, which is the Western Star Sports Club. And the football side is called Dandytown. So it was actually a sole cricket club, then the two sports amalgamated. And so I was actually a president of a cricket club first and then a soccer club. And so that kept me in the game. And traditionally in Bermuda, you go on the weekends to either follow cricket or soccer. I was the vice president of our local soccer federation on the FIFA. Did that for quite some time, sports management as well. And then an opportunity came to join the Bermuda Cricket Board. Someone approached me and said, you should do it. I told them I'm into soccer. And they said, well, you have the skill sets for strategic planning and fund development. That's what we need right now. So I put in an application and hey, I'm here today as the executive director of the Bermuda Cricket Board. So that's my background into cricket. And my cricket team at a test level status is the West Indies. I grew up under Malcolm Marshall and Vivian Richards and those guys. So those are my heroes. Malcolm Marshall is like the one person, if I was to become an elite cricketer, I would have wanted to be Malcolm Marshall, just his passion, his burling, and his never say die attitude. And I loved, everyone talks about Viv Richardson, but I used to love Richie Richardson. Shorter career, but he was flashy with the bat. And at one point I wanted to be a wicketkeeper. So of course, Devry Jushan, diving all over the place. So that's my passion for cricket. So here I am. And thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah. So, just going back to the second part of my question. So how has been your, experience at Cricket Bermuda so far?
The experience has been challenging, but good. We have had the highlights of Bermuda cricket 2007, the only time we've been to a World Cup in your beautiful country, India. We played there in the World Cup of 2007, and everyone remembers the first ball from the Bermuda cricket team, bowled by the 17-year-old Malachi Jones, caught by the big man, Dwayne Sluggo Leverett in slips, caught the first ball, and we had India one ball for naught. But at the end of the game, there was a big gap in quality, but no one would ever take that memory from Bermuda. In our first ICC official World Cup match, we claimed the wicket of a test-playing nation, first ball for naught. But the game didn't end that way. So that's the experience. So they have the high of 2007. It's hard to stay at that level as an associate. So of course you've reached the top of the mountain. You go down the mountain, you come up, you go down, and now we're slowly getting back to being a little bit more competitive. We're still far away.
Yeah.
We're also, I wouldn't say we're moving away from test match and ODI, but we know for associate members, it's easier to play a World Cup through T20 because everyone has the T20 rankings. So right now, that seems like the easiest route for an associate member in ICC Americas is to do the T20, but we still play ODI format, 50-over cricket locally, domestically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been fun. Right now, we have a new strategic plan, 5-year plan, just launched in January. So you have a plan, you have ideas, making sure we have the money behind it and making sure we get all the players and coaches together. So it's fun, it's challenging, but I wouldn't change it for anything right now.
That's nice. That's nice. So, I'm just going to ask a couple of more questions before I switch ends with Dan. And I'm also going to stick to, one of the things that you just said, that you're slowly getting there. So just with respect to it, how do you really spot the talents across the country and really nurture them?
Well, Bermuda is small. It's 21 square miles. It has 9 parishes or 9 cities. You can drive from one end to the island to the other inside of 45 minutes. So it's easy to see talent. It's easy for the team to get together on a day's notice or even a few hours. And it's easy for all of the coaches to go to any match they want on a particular day to watch some of the players play. So we don't have that vast landmass where you have to go to the west, to the south. It's all one small location. Traditionally, the kids are introduced into cricket into the primary schools or elementary schools. They play into the middle schools, not so much in the high school, but there is club cricket at youth level. And those that are really passionate about the game, they will start to play for our local men's first division or the elite premier division. And then we participate in the ICC Under-19 World Cup. So talent is more natural talent than talent that's being developed. But it's easy to develop that talent because you can see the natural talent quickly and can encourage some of those young men to join our Bermuda Cricket Board Academy, where they can join from the age of 13, I believe, and then they start to develop the skills for some international competition.
That's great. I think that's one of the, I would say, best answers with respect to the pathway programs or, with respect to whatever nurturing of the young talent we have had so far in respect to the answers that we have had from different associate nations. So just sticking with one of the points that you mentioned before, the 5-year strategic plan from 2022 to 2026. I even went through your website with respect to this. So it basically outlines 4 specific areas which will be focused on, including participation, high performance, infrastructure, and finance. And increasing the number of girls playing cricket at youth level is also a key part of this plan, if I'm not wrong. So how did this exhaustive plan come about? And the second part of my question is that what are the possible challenges in executing this plan?
Yeah, great story. The plan came from ICC Americas. ICC in the past would send someone from Australia or England to go to the associate member nations and to help them develop their strategic plan. We know with COVID-19, everything is done remotely now. So they said, hey, we want the associate members to have a plan of their own. We're going to start a pilot program, which Bermuda, Brazil, Canada, and I believe Argentina are part of in the ICC Americas, Bermuda and Brazil first. So we were guided by ICC to put our strategic plan together. They gave us a format. They gave us some templates. and they also told us to narrow down our multiple wish lists to make it a very feasible and attainable plan. And the pilot plan was fantastic, where in about 12 weeks, we had a shell. And by 9 months, we actually had a robust plan. We thought it was going to be done quicker, but I'm glad it took longer because we were able to, focus on what's needed and not what we want, but what is really needed. So that's the plan. So, and it was no cost to the Bermuda Cricket Board. Normally, you have a consultant that will come in, so it's going to cost you some thousands of dollars. We did the plan ourselves. We were able to network with ICC and other associate member nations. But at the end of the day, it's a Bermuda plan, so it's realistic, it's robust, and we believe in it, and we're very proud to have put it together.
That's nice.
And the challenges, your second question, the challenges would be, we are a very small island nation, 60,000 people. So we don't have 100,000 people playing cricket. We don't have 10,000 people playing cricket. We don't have 5,000 people playing. So we have a very small pool that has to be able to play on an international level to get back to a World Cup against India, Pakistan, West Indies, Australia. Very difficult to do. We're the smallest nation in the world to have played in a World Cup. So to go back twice would be like lightning hitting you twice, right? So that's a challenge. The other challenge we have is that Bermuda is one of the most expensive locations to live in the world. If you go on the rankings, we're probably in the top 4. So, it costs so much money to live in Bermuda that if you want to do the sport at an amateur level, you have to make sure that you are being able to take care of yourself financially. So some of the more talented players, once they move into an academic environment and become accountants and lawyers, naturally you don't have the time to play the game of cricket. So we lose a lot of the talent pool as well. So those are our challenges: finance and then population pool. We don't have a great infrastructure system. So that's something we definitely need to work on. We are a subtropical island. So between April to September, the weather is fantastic for us. And then from about November to March, it becomes a little bit chilly. It gets darker quick. So we don't really have an indoor specific cricket training facility. We do use for certain schools and gyms, but that's something in our strategic plan that we have to develop our infrastructure so that we can train at least 10 to 12 months of the year. So those are our challenges.
I think, that's pretty massive. Dan, please take over.
Yeah, look, I'm going to say it straight off the bat, Calvin. Like, Iceland have put it out there that one of their ambitions is to beat England in any format of cricket. How far away are Bermuda? Could we see that happen? It's like it's a constant talking point for us.
That's I think we're far away, but the only way we're going to beat England is we now have at least. Well, let me go back. Because we are a British colony, we have a British passport that allows our residents and citizens to travel to the UK as a British national. So many of our young men that are into cricket and women, they actually leave Bermuda about 15, 16s. They go to the boarding schools in the UK and they learn all of the cricket skills from England. So our hope is that maybe in 10 years' time, there are enough young men and women playing the game, not only in the boarding schools, but moving into county cricket and lower semi-professional format, that if we have 7 to 8 cricketers playing in different franchises overseas, not saying we'll beat England, but it would at least be a match that will go past 100 runs, to say it politely.
Well, I mean, England just lost to the West Indies 3-2 in the T20 series. So, now's the time for Bermuda cricket to rise up, we think. And England are a good limiters test for, associate nations like yourself. And we know Australia and India would definitely be behind that.
So we have one outstanding cricket player in the UK. You probably would know him. His name is Delray Rollins. He plays for Sussex. He's played in the 100, played in the Braves. So, if we can get 5 more players of his stature to play professional cricket. We have another young man who just joined a cricket club in the UK, Kamal Lavrock. He's actually was the captain of the T20 team that played in Antigua the other day. So that's 2 now. So if we keep adding 2 players a year, hopefully in 5 to 6 years' time, we would have 10. And then we can say, look, let's see what we can do. Right now, the focus is to be more competitive in the Americas region, which really right now, to be respectful, is Bermuda, Argentina, USA, and Canada. And our goal is always to be first or second. That gives us almost qualification either into the next round or sometimes direct access to a World Cup final. So, our competitors, USA and Canada, 9 times out of 10, we have to beat one of them to go through to the next round.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And how can international fans sort of contribute to associate nations more, like Bermuda? Like, how can they show their support for the team as you go on that journey of development? Like, what can Indian fans do? What can Aussie fans do to sort of make sure Bermuda cricket is getting the attention of the ICC and getting that funding support?
Yeah. So our new website, cricketbermuda.com. That's the website where you can go on to. We have a Facebook page, the Bermuda Cricket Board. We're on Twitter or on Instagram. We would love to hear those. Hey, Bermuda, we want to get you back, see you back in the World Cup. And we've launched with our new strategic plan. We're trying to create more revenue, so e-commerce. So when we launch our nice pink playing uniforms, anyone in the world can go online and order a kit. You feel some of the tropic sunshine when you put it on. And, the revenue would allow us to actually say, hey, we can send the team to Australia, India, or England for maybe 3 weeks, and they can play, they can learn, and stay at an elite level. Because playing domestic cricket in Bermuda, it's nice, it's fun, but it's not going to make you a world champion. Our players have to go overseas on a regular basis. So one thing that's good is that the United States, who's now becoming, a major player in cricket, as we look maybe 10 years down the road with their investments and infrastructure, that would allow Bermudians to play in a franchise format closer to him.
Yeah.
And hopefully they will get picked up from there, maybe to play in the CPL, and who knows after that. But we just need about 7 or 8 more players playing professional on a regular basis to have a realistic chance of being competitive.
That's fantastic. Look, we hope to see you there, sooner rather than later, mate.
Yeah, we're coming. We have a target for 2024 T20 World Cup in the West Indies. We're going to go for it. We're going to try to qualify. The plan's out now, so we're going to put all our eggs in one basket and try to make a run for it.
That's brilliant. Pink shirts will do. Sid and I will definitely be wearing a pink shirt, mate.
Surely. I think it's more about supporting not just our respective cricketing team that we belong from a country. I think it's about supporting cricket as a nation, as a sport, I would say, across the globe, because that's where I feel that there are quite a few things that in this particular sport are very important, and there are very relevant stories, definitely one of which we are recording now, and a few that we have recorded in the past, be it of Switzerland cricket, Brazil cricket, and something related to the psychology of sports and something like that. I think all of this really plays an important role, and I think at the very same time it's important to be relevant. So that's what I think cricket is all about. And I think I just have a few more questions before we just wrap up. So Kelvin, from the time you joined the Cricket Bermuda setup, what were the things you felt needed a change, and how successful have you been able to bring that change?
Yeah, the first change I think would be as popular as the sport is, sometimes it's not on the front page of the newspapers enough. So the one thing I wanted to do was make the sport more visible, so that everyone can see cricket. Because to be honest, everyone sees soccer in any country. Soccer's on the front page.
Yeah.
Cricket's hidden a little bit, unless it's a major tournament, and then still soccer's on the front page. So trying to make sure that cricket's on the front page. Secondly, cricket is almost a very closed society sometimes, where soccer shouts, we want everyone to play soccer, get a pair of cleats, get a ball and kick it against the wall. Cricket is almost like, unless you're from a cricketing family, you're not really part of the family structure. So trying to make cricket more embraceable and fun, and making sure kids and anyone that hasn't thought about playing cricket at least tries to hit a ball or build a ball. And the other part would be the financing, because without money, you really can't develop sports,
Yeah.
from an amateur to professional level. So we're happy to receive a lot of funding, but if we want to go to a World Cup, we definitely need to increase that by 50%. So that's where we are now. So I think the visibility is coming.
Yeah.
I think we're making the sport popular for everyone to join it. That it's not even a word cricket. So now the most challenging thing is trying to make sure we have the financing in place to push on from a high performance international level so that we can, compete with the best in the world.
That's great. Could you tell us about your president of cricket, Arnold Mendes, and his influence over the team and the cricket Bermuda setup?
Yes, Arnold Mendes is what we would call a local living legend. He comes from a cricketing background, a cricketing family, 3 brothers that played the game, all played at the highest level, played at youth World Cups, domestic cricket, international competitions for Bermuda in the 80s, 90s. Even his nephew, Trey Mendes, played in the T20 tournament in Antigua in the ICC Americas.
Yeah.
He's an educator by trade, physical education, but he's the head of health and physical development for the elementary schools in Bermuda. And cricket just runs through his blood. And he's been part of the board for a long time as a player, as a national team coach, as a development officer, and now full circle as our president. So his influence over the game is a positive one. He's hands-on. He's very grassroots orientated. So, he can be the president, but he doesn't mind waking up on a Saturday morning and making sure that the under-8s are, using the bat properly, learning how to build the balls. So, he's a great president to have.
That's nice. I think that's one of the best things that, we have actually, heard across all of the shows that we had, that, the president of a respective cricket association, actually not minding and just doing anything or everything possible he can beat any time of the day. I think, yeah, that's one of the best things. So just last 2 questions. So, when we talk about the local revenue, and I'm just going to, shift towards a bit towards the management side of things. So when we talk about the local revenue, it means sponsorship, gate receipts, merchandise, and a few more things, with respect to a cricket association and a cricket team. So how do you, as, someone as a strategic consultant, how do you really enhance that?
Yeah, Bermuda is unique, but I wouldn't say unique. First of all, again, because we're small, it's great, but because we're small, we're not going to fill a stadium that's going to pay the cost of a team, because 500 people coming to a local match is not the equivalent of 50,000 people in a stadium in Australia. So that's one. Revenue from merchandise and everything else is going to be small, but because we are a reinsurance hub, so there are companies that come to Bermuda, relocate from the United States, Europe. They have a lower tax bracket. So in their corporate operating documentation, they have funds that they give back to the community. So if you are a registered charitable organization in Bermuda, you can apply for funding from corporate companies that has corporate social responsibility, and they give then to your organization once you have shown that you have good management skills, programs for the community, for the kids, and that you manage the programs in a proper manner, and you have an executive board that functions. So that's where the majority of the funding comes from. It's not traditional gate receipts, because the volume is just not there on a weekly basis to sustain itself.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much says it. So just, last question. So what are a couple of things that, you think most need to change at the International Cricket Council, especially, that it goes on to benefit the associate cricket nations? That's
I know
that's a tricky one, I know.
Yeah, it's not a tricky one. I just hope I don't get in trouble for it, but I say it all the time.
No. We really don't want you to get in trouble over it. Just
I'm not gonna get in trouble.
As honest as possible. That's fine.
I'm just gonna say I come from a soccer background from FIFA, where every country has one vote to pick the president or to make a decision on certain rules. Doesn't matter if it's Bermuda or Brazil or England. in ICC, it's you have the 12 test playing nations or 14, and then you have the associates. So it's like a step family to a certain extent. So unless we can all have one vote, even though we don't bring in the same revenue, you know, I think we need to be a little bit more democratic for the associates to feel like the real member of ICC. And that's just something that I would like to see happen, hopefully sooner than later. Everyone should be equal. Even though we don't bring in the same money, it should be that it's equal, because Bermuda plays under FIFA. We don't have the gate receipts, a professional team like Brazil, but when you want to vote, that vote is the same as Brazil. You know what I mean? We still have to qualify for the World Cup, which we have never done on the soccer, but you still have the same vote. In ICC, we've been to the World Cup, but we get like half a vote or no vote, and the other 6 get a vote. So it has to be more democratic, I think. You know, so that's my personal thing. That 90, I think it's 196, probably 110 playing nations, 112. It should be 110 votes and not like 14 or 16 votes. That's
absolutely.
that's
I think you make a really good point there, Calvin. Like, you know, if everyone's playing the game, they should have a say in how the game's run.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Doesn't mean we get the same amount of money, but at least we have a say.
And I mean, obviously we're trying to expand the game into different parts of the world like Bermuda, and, you know, having that say is also like incredibly important as well. Yeah,
and the last thing I would say, not to diminish the quality, but I think by increasing the number of teams that can play the World Cup, that's how you're going to grow the game. Rather, there's a tier 2 step where Bermuda plays in a, you know, pre-qualifying event for the World Cup. And then, but you need to broaden it. Football can go from, they used to have what, 24, 32 to wherever they are now. And then cricket can go to at least 20. You know, not saying the 20 is going to play all the games, but Bermuda can play 3 games at the World Cup level. And if we don't advance, we go home. But that's still a World Cup. That excites our young people and everyone else around us. If it's the same teams playing, then people are not really going to be excited anymore, because it's not new.
No, absolutely. And I mean, we saw with the T20 this year, I mean, you had the likes of Ireland, you had Scotland there, you know, Namibia, you know, also getting through to the finals for the first time. So having that opportunity for Bermuda would be something that absolutely would grow the game, I think.
Yeah, but we have to earn it. But if the opportunity is there, then it's up to us. Right now, it's very difficult to do that, because it's almost impossible a little bit in ODI cricket format to get to a World Cup. Just the qualifying process, it's a magnitude. But, you know, we're going to keep trying. So T20 seems to be our main realistic chance. So hopefully we come back to each other, and 2024, hopefully we can be on the world stage again. We're going to try, at least. We're going to do our best.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I think that's about it. Thank you so much, Calvin. It was really good to have you on the show. Some really, you know, great answers, and, you know, some really great stories from your end. And to all our viewers, please, you know, keep watching our videos. Please subscribe to our channel. Please like our videos, share it on different social media platforms. It's going to help us grow a lot. We are trying our, you know, very best to do stuff that is really relevant. And I think, you know, with all your support, we will continue to do this in future, and just churn out content, you know, to the very best of our abilities. So until then, on behalf of Dan and Kelvin, it's Sidharth saying goodbye.
Thanks a lot, guys. All the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.